of the hardest parts was figuring out what to call it. That one took a long time, even while the level was being built in sort of white box form. I think there was all kinds of discussion as that idea germinated throughout the rest of the team around what could we call it, what were the different bits of lore and memories that players would have, references to those other franchises that you'd see elsewhere in the levels. So, you know, it goes through all the usual stages of content creation, whether it's white box design, the sort of art pass to create the content. There's a very important other part of this level design creation process that took place on this particular level that is not part of every other one that we do, which is we're surrounded by and constantly inspired by all the other teams at Blizzard. Incredible talent that's been working on these titles for a very long time. And so as the level was taking shape, literally right from the concepting stage, we would share the progress on that level with all of the key stakeholders from those teams. So art directors would look at the art and the level designs, and we'd grab assets from other levels within those other franchises and bring them over and see what would be necessary to give it that Overwatch feel. And they would review it and make sure that everything looked good and really fit with the style that we had. So it was a little bit more involved in some of the other level design processes. Aaron Keller, assistant game director, took a lot of ownership of that particular level, making sure that it really reflected the tone and the sort of feel of Blizzard as a whole. And as is the case with a lot of levels, the magic of that level, all of the detail and polish really came together in the last few weeks.
Since launch, probably since beta, that's had no run-up beforehand. There's been no leaks, no teasers, no anything.
No leaks. No leaks.
Well, right. Is this something we can expect in future? I know it's like a massive difference from the 6-month Sombre ARG we had this time last year.
Yeah. So we, I think we try different things, and we're constantly experimenting and trying to figure out what works best. And in this case with Moira, there was an opportunity here that we felt was really strong. We were all leading up to BlizzCon of this year, we were really excited about the things that we had in the pipe that were going to be ready around that time. And it made a lot of sense. I think Jeff even referenced this in one of the panels today. We have this sort of, it's a very Blizzard ethos to want to be able to show some stuff that's real and polished and at the level of quality that we all want to see it at before it even touches the hands of the public. And so this was a great opportunity to be able to do that and make a big splash. And with a character that we think really speaks to some of the needs that we've been hearing about from the community. So yeah, I think it's a constant process of kind of evolution. We look at what works and what doesn't, and we're very honest with ourselves about things that don't work. But we're also really happy with how the reveal of Moira went, and we can't wait to see what the community says about it when she gets out there. Oh, good! You guys have gotten a chance to play it. Awesome. Was it 12 Moiras or no?
It was about 6 Moiras.
6 Moiras. Okay.
I ended up catching the Winston in about 90 seconds.
All right, there you go. Excellent. Well, good. No, I think experience with some limits on will be a little bit different, but I hope you guys got a chance to see how different she is from other supports. It's really kind of a neat strategic challenge.
Reminds me of something of Zenyatta in the
Yeah.
films.
Yeah, there's a battlefield awareness, sort of like a kind of situational awareness that you have to have, not just where your teammates are, but also kind of where you are in the world and kind of the state of the enemies and all that kind of stuff, because it's a good strategic balance between healing, support, and then damage. So.
I think with her ultimate, because of its beam and its ability to kind of multitask, just being inbuilt, was that a deliberate effort to maybe kind of deal with the choke points that you get in certain maps? Because I know historically maps like Ichabod have had real issues where when they first came out, the choke was so hard that it just made defending seem really easy from a player standpoint. Whereas hers almost counters that point, because if you block wall up and shield, it does nothing. You're kind of feeding into her playstyle.
That's a really interesting point. I haven't had any conversations with Jeff Goodman, the hero designer, about that specific motivation for it. And I certainly haven't heard him mention that sort of a specific motivation, but I'm sure that a lot of the design decisions here around the difference in the way that ult plays probably were informed by all the stuff that he learned over the course of the last year, looking at the way that people play with supports, especially around those particular areas. But I can't say that with certainty. I wouldn't want to speak for Jeff.
Going back to Blizzard World, is there talk from the team about potentially building on that idea and going to a different part of Blizzard World for a different objective map?
Well, so did you see the map of all of Blizzard World? And you saw how it's just a portion of it. So there is more of Blizzard World that's out there, and we're certainly inspired by that idea that in the Overwatch universe, the other franchises are, like Blizzard is a thing, Blizzard exists, and Diva plays StarCraft with her dad. So we love this idea that Blizzard exists, and those franchises sort of exist as universes in the Overwatch universe, but we have not announced anything about any additional expansion. Although I hope you guys did see the panel where we revealed the additional loot box content, the skins that are Blizzard World related. So that's just some of the content that we're going to be adding to sort of the base collection early next year. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Well, I don't know that I would say that the skins came first. Certainly. Who was it? Arnold Sang kind of referenced this once or twice earlier yesterday and today. It's such an interesting thing how inspired we get by the work that the community does around the franchise. Sometimes somebody will see something and kind of send it around and go like, guys, did you see this? This is amazing. I know that the idea of combining franchises has always been something that's resonated within the team. But I don't think I recall the skins predating the map per se.
Probably a lot more often that was bringing to mind, but I can just think.
No, there's some great ideas out there that are still yet to be done. So.
Our main focus on this has always been lore, and I suppose probably. Maybe it might be a type question.
Yeah.
But over the 3 years or so since Overwatch came announced, there's been a lot of dangling plot lines.
Yeah.
We've made like videos on and are waiting front, but are those all? Is is everything pulling together in one direction now?
So I would never want to speak for Michael, but there's a lot of discussion in our room constantly about the overarching narrative for Overwatch and the Overwatch universe, and kind of how the new factions that have been introduced, not just Talon and Blackwatch and sort of Blackwatch part of Overwatch, but also even things like the Junkers, how that all fits. I'm sorry? Null Sector as well. I mean, there's a lot of discussion around how all of that stuff ties together. While I'm not going to kind of reveal anything that we're working on, there is as much of a keen interest in continuing to progress that narrative because we think that's part of how we build attachment with these really deep characters is through the interactions you have with them in the lore and in the gameplay. As a team, we're very much aligned around that, and there's a lot of work going on right now to flesh some of that out. Yeah, cool. No, that's awesome. Did you guys like Reinhardt?
Yes.
This is all very good news to me that you guys weren't expecting it, because routinely I'm the one who has to worry quite a bit about leaks. So it makes me happy to know that it was a great surprise and everybody was pleased by it. So that's good. Yeah, well, we have a good time reading those. Those are fun too. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's thinking on the Reinhardt thing. I don't know if it's a change or something. I think back when Iconbar first came out, I remember tweeting Michael, again, it's always Michael, with a lot of stuff, about Reinhardt's location during the battle. And he said that he wasn't there.
Oh, interesting.
So, but that animation suggests that he was there. So, just little things.
I'm sure Michael has a very good answer for that.
Complete warning.
I'm sure Michael has a very good answer for that, but I'm not going to try and answer that one for him. But I mean, I love that particular cinematic tells so much. I mean, Ben Dye and his crew over in SFD, it is such an incredible explanation of the formation of the character of who Reinhardt is, explaining kind of, you know, most people, if you just play it on the surface level, you get this really sort of happy-go-lucky, kind of, you know, brash sort of character, but you don't get a sense for that depth and sort of the pain and loss that he had in his prior life. And this helps to influence that. And also, you know, I had somebody ask me earlier today, is there a lesson in there for other Reinhardt mains about, hey, let's stay with your team. I see what happens when you abandon them.
One of the guys we were watching the opening ceremony with is a Reinhardt main. Back in the beta days, he was very much, I don't care about shield, I'm charging everything. Now you play with him, he's a shield. He's
That's good. That's good.
It was like the character had been built around him.
Oh, that's great. No, that's brilliant. I love hearing stories like that. And Darren is so much that guy, and he knows how to tap into each of those phases of Reinhardt's life. So it's great.
And yeah, it actually answers one of the other questions we've worked on in the video, is the Winston's recall,
Yep.
where that is in the world, because it kind of happened and then went silent.
Yep.
Like we had hints of Genji coming Panzer saying take a side,
Mhm.
we knew Tracer had answered, but nobody else. So is that a thread that is going to be picked up with the others that were contacted?
So you saw May, right? And May actually received the signal, and May is she's on her way. So that absolutely is a thread that is important to the ongoing story of Overwatch, and I think you'll learn more about that coming up.
Is there a question? But you're kind of seeing the same thing on both sides. So you're seeing Talon kind of do their own recall, the return of Doomfist and the reformation of the new council, and it's spreading, and Moira being part of that council, and we're starting to fill the blank places that we had around the table and introduce them. Is it deliberately kind of, it's almost as one comes out, you get one for the other. So we've got Moira, which was a member of the council, and Reinhardt, we see him answer the call.
Interesting.
Is that purpose or purely accident?
I don't. That's a Michael Chu question. I don't know, but I can say that the development of Talon is very purposeful, right? I mean, there's a real important narrative reason for that, and we think the Doomfist, you know, the arrival of Doomfist was really well received. We think that there's some nuance even with Moira's introduction, this sort of, you know, at BlizzCon this year, where many people think of her as just being, you know, part of Talon, when in fact there's even some depth to her connection, which is not so much that she's necessarily aligned with the overarching goals of Talon, but it's more about the patronage of her scientific work without limitations that were expressed on it through Overwatch. And so in that sense, she is very much self-interested, but willing to utilize the results of her scientific research to assist Talon in that respect. So there's some cool sort of storylines that are developing there that I think are going to be cool.
Like a sciencey version of some
In some ways, I guess I could see that. How you'd see it that way.
In a way, that is kind of Talon's ideals, because they are all about personal freedom at the extremes.
Yeah, I suppose you could say it that way. Doomfist even has some nuances on that as well, right? You know, the whole idea of conflict and you know, the names will be remembered, right? Those who rise up. So yeah, there's some exciting stuff coming. You know, I'm not going to tell you any of that stuff. Did you guys get to see any of the esports stuff this time? Yeah.
We haven't managed to get into the arena. Every time we've gone, it's been round.
Oh, really?
To be fair, though, when we did try and get in, it was Stark USA.
Oh, okay. That's a tough time to try and get in. But that's, I mean, it's you know, that's a bummer that you guys couldn't see it. Hopefully you were able to watch it on Twitch or something on stream.
Good one. Good one on the UK, but they were in about 5 seconds.
Have you gotten any feedback on the Spectator updates?
Yeah, you know, the Spectator Updates, I'd be interested to hear what you guys thought. Spectator Updates have been such a focus for our team for a while. There's been a strike team that's been dedicated to it for months. Really sitting back and looking at, okay, you know, why is it the case that some people would say early on it's a difficult game to watch, understanding what were the parts that were challenging about that, and then identifying a set of functionality that we could achieve, that we could implement and achieve in a time frame that would be meaningful for World Cup, for Overwatch World Cup, and then also for Overwatch League. It seems like everyone is enjoying the addition of the team colors, as it helps to give visibility of, better visibility of you know, team members and opposing team members, better, just quicker read on screen. But the ones that I think are getting the most kind of you know, sort of chatter on Reddit and some other places are the overhead map. Really helps with sort of match flow. So as you see a team reset and regroup, there'll be a shot that they cut to and they give you a perspective on, if you know that map, you'll see which direction they're going and sort of how each team is regrouping before each push. And then the other one is the replay feature, which for casters I have heard is an incredible boon to them. Their ability to go back and freeze time and sort of replay and slow-mo and rotate around and move the camera anywhere they want to be able to demonstrate a particular point that they, you know, that they're trying to illustrate in the casting of the game, which is so important for the goal of esports, which is to broaden the audience, not just to the enthusiast crowd, but also for people who just want to see incredible, you know, dramatic plays like USA and South Korea last night. I mean, it was super, the energy in that arena was incredible, and having a really good broadcast to be able to support that was really great. Stats are also something that, you know, the question always comes up from people. You know, you want to make sure it's accessible to sort of the broadest audience, but then also for people who are the hardcore fans, how do you enable them to get really deeply engaged? The stat feed that's coming live from the game, and then sort of the ability to visualize that in-game and provide that information out to people both in the arena and on the broadcast has helped immensely. People have been really excited about some of the stats that have come up and sort of being able to see those stats as they relate to the game, to the match that's going on right then. So, yeah, pretty good, but there's a lot of work to do still. We have all these ideas after just, you know, it's the energy on the team around this. After coming out of some of these matches and trying to figure out, okay, what are the right places for us to focus our energy on? It's a big task, but I think everybody's energized by this.
What's one big thing you want to focus on?
I can't really talk about it, but I think you'll see some continued evolution of features around that replay system, because I think that there's a big potential there of being able to use that in a way to help, you know, understanding for esports. But there's other stuff under the covers.
One thing also wondering around the upgrades you've been making. Are we likely to see any of those move into kind of everyone's competitive scene? So the ability to make it clearer when you do competitive, having like a literal red and a blue team.
It's something we're talking about. We haven't announced anything yet, but it's definitely something we're talking about.
I suppose the side of that is, can we expect any of the skins for the Gordon or the new locations that have been coming out of the very thing? We see, we get like, this is Mercy in this team's colour.
Yeah, so, yeah, no, I get this question a lot. And we're glad. We love that everybody loves those skins. I don't know if you guys have a favorite team already, but we've gotten, it's got to be the Spitfires out there. That's great. That's a great color set, and those skins are really amazing. And we are, not only do we also really love all of those team colors and the logos, and the team uniforms are amazing, but we're also really I think it's as part of the original goals for Overwatch League is this idea of being able to represent and kind of sort of be able to show your allegiance to your local area and your local team. There's that element of traditional sports that I think we want to make sure is part of what Overwatch League is. So we know exactly how important that is, and we don't have anything that we're announcing today, but we're very aware of it. So.
Anything else?
Let's make a note right now.
That's all right. No worries.
Anything on BlizzCon? Any questions? Yes, good.
We're good.
Great.
Cool. Awesome, guys. Thank you. Thanks for the time. Tell me the sites
For
again.
more BlizzCon 2017 coverage, check us out at blizzpro.com. Subscribe to us here on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and Facebook at BlizzPro.